Dustin Poirier is the epitome of an MMA badass.
Dustin is a dog, you know. He will bite, he will kick, he will punch.
No, Dustin's gotta be one of your fucking top favorite fighters of all time.
This guy turned early career face plants into his own gritty, rocky montage, clawing his way up the ranks with raw determination and a sly smirk.
Like, I was so impressed with Dustin's performance.
A former interim UFC Lightweight Champion, Dustin is a human wrecking ball in the octagon. He's got a knack for throwing down with the sport's toughest, and it hasn't just earned him respect, it's etched him into legend status among fans and fighters alike.
Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby! You're looking big, you little.
His journey is a wild ride packed with blood, guts, and a whole lot of heart. This is the story of Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Dustin Poirier's story kicks off in Lafayette on January 19, 1989. They call him the Diamond, but Dustin didn't start life with any glittering perks. He grew up in a loving home, but money was always tight, like it is for many families in southern Louisiana. Things got even tougher when his parents split up when he was just 5. After the separation, Dustin's mom became the main caretaker, working her fingers to the bone to support him and his 2 siblings. To pitch in, young Dustin took on odd jobs like collecting aluminum cans, a clear sign of the financial strain they were under. Growing up in a tough neighborhood, Dustin found himself in plenty of street fights.
I don't even know how many. You know, I'm not bragging or happy, but I definitely got into some scuffles.
While rough, these brawls toughened him up and built the grit and fighting spirit that would later fuel his mixed martial arts career. The chaos at home and the rough neighborhood took a toll on Dustin's education. He hated school and often got into trouble. By the age of 10, he was already in court for knocking out a 15-year-old's teeth. His mom, however, saw a glimpse of Dustin's potential as a fighter and fostered it from a very young age.
When the Muhammad Ali movie came out, Will Smith, she brought me opening night just because she knew I was also very big into how Muhammad Ali did what he thought was right against everyone's judgment. You know, not going to war, getting his title stripped. That's powerful. You know, to put your foot down.
By 9th grade, Dustin dropped out of Northside High School, unable to fit into the usual school setup. Not long after, he ended up in juvenile detention for a month.
Y'all think I'm gonna lose my boys?
This was followed by 3 months in a military-style boot camp to straighten him out.
On your feet, get up! You don't know? Maybe because you don't do shit.
By 16, Dustin was just another high school dropout. He got a job at McDonald's to earn some cash and spent his free time hanging out with friends, smoking, and drinking, far from the dedicated athlete he is now.
I gotta be busy, man. That's my thing. Like, I'm a danger to myself when I'm have nothing. No goal circled on my calendar. I'm a danger to myself.
The only bright spot in his life was Jolie, his childhood sweetheart, whom he met during his wild teenage years and is still married to.
So I was living by myself when I had my own place at 17 years old. And she was living with her mom then.
Yeah, it doesn't roll.
That was that was her senior prom.
That shit is so good. Because everybody remembers the dude that wore that to their prom, and there was only one type of dude that rolled up like that, yeah, bro.
Man. I have fought somebody in the yard or the grass of the police station. My place I had when I was 17 was directly across from Lafayette Police Department. Yeah. And one time, this is a crazy story, but one time we went out to a bar. My brother was playing his guitar there or something, and a guy I was with, I didn't really know him well. He was a friend's friend.
Yeah.
And he stole somebody's purse at the bar. And then he got caught and called out for it, and we were with him, and I'm like, oh, and then we started walking back to my house, and we just got into it and fought, but
Dustin was smart enough to channel his passion for fighting into something positive. By 18, he discovered boxing, which gave him a constructive outlet for his aggression and a way to protect himself on the streets.
The first day I ever laced up a pair of boxing gloves and went to a gym and started sweating, and just the camaraderie of the other guys in there fighting, and it felt like home. That's where I wanted to be, with those guys. And I mean, from that day, I never looked back, and I completely changed my circle and changed my focus, and kind of just got drowned and lost in that, and it's still that for me.
As he got older, he found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which hooked him with its complex grappling and all-around combat techniques. This was a game changer, blending his boxing skills with the tactical moves of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, setting the stage for his future in MMA. Everything fell into place when Dustin met former MMA fighter Tim Credur, who recognized Dustin's potential and persuaded him to switch to MMA.
So I went to a mixed martial arts gym. It was the only one in Lafayette at the time, but the TV show Ultimate Fighter, I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Sure, of course.
It was just starting to be a big thing. That was like when Forrest Griffin fought, and it was on Spike TV. Mm-hmm. One of the guys from Louisiana got a call to be on the show, and when he came back, he opened his own gym. And me and all the guys who were at this other gym we moved to his gym, and I started learning from him, and he was the first black belt in jiu-jitsu in Louisiana, his history.
So I put my mouthpiece in, I put my gloves on, and me and Dustin did a couple rounds, and I went in the bathroom, and I spit my mouthpiece out, and a bunch of blood came out of my mouth, and I was fighting the UFC at the time, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, this kid's gonna be a fucking world champion.
This motherfucker's world though.
Dustin turned pro in 2009. And after racking up 7 straight wins in the regional circuit, he got signed by World Extreme Cagefighting.
I got picked up by the WC and lost my first fight there by decision.
Dustin debuted for World Extreme Cagefighting in August 2010, but his first major promotion fight ended in a loss. In a grappling heavy bout, he spent most of the time trying to submit Danny Castillo from the bottom, only to lose on the scorecards. Many fighters might have given up after such a setback, thinking the dream wasn't for them, but not the Diamond. Dustin used this loss as a learning experience, showing time and again that he evolves between fights, always coming back stronger. His nickname, the Diamond, reflects his belief in thriving under pressure, just like a diamond formed through extreme conditions.
I feel like every time I've lost, I've made huge adjustments and explored those reasons I've lost, and I've always learned from it.
Really?
Yeah, every single time.
This next attraction scheduled for 3 rounds in the lightweight division.
3 months later, Dustin returned with a point to prove. He stormed the mat, swinging from the bell and landing big shots on Zach Mickelwright. Mickelwright was sent reeling into the fence, defenseless and taking heavy hooks from Poirier. The referee stopped the fight just 53 seconds into the first round. Watching these fights, the first thing you notice is how much Dustin's defense has improved. He hasn't changed his aggressive style, but now, if you end up against the fence like Mickelwright, you can bet the Diamond will swarm you with his violent offense, backed by sharp head movement and deadly counter shots. If you're hurt and up against the fence, you better hope it's not Dustin Poirier across from you. In October 2010, World Extreme Cagefighting merged with the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Found out the news that the UFC and WC were merging.
With this merger, all World Extreme Cagefighting fighters, including Dustin, of course, moved to the UFC.
In his mixed martial arts career,
He was now stepping onto a bigger stage at a whole new level. After the UFC and the World Extreme Cagefighting merged, Jose Aldo, the new UFC featherweight champion, was supposed to defend his title against top contender Josh Grisby at UFC 125. But Aldo had to pull out because of a back injury, so Dustin Poirier stepped in to fight Grisby in January 2011.
A couple weeks after that, my last WC fight, I got a phone call to fill in for Jose Aldo as a last-minute replacement in a weight class that I never fought at, and I was ready, for that opportunity.
Grisby was on a 10-fight winning streak, but Dustin dominated the fight, using clinch strikes and strong wrestling to win by unanimous decision.
And beat up the #1 contender at the time and really started making waves in the featherweight division.
After that, Poirier racked up 3 more wins, including a standout victory over Max Holloway at UFC 143 in February 2012.
You keep looking better, you keep looking more confident. Is that just you're getting more reps out there and now you feel like you belong in the UFC?
That's exactly it. Now I feel at home here in the UFC. When Bert starts yelling in the back, I'm ready, I'm ready to go to battle.
This fight is especially interesting because Poirier and Holloway are 2 of the most humble, classy, and popular fighters in the UFC.
Decision. But great takedown defense here by Holloway. I really liked how he's by Poirier.
Despite Holloway's skills and talent, his inexperience showed.
Every time I step in there, I just wanted to show, my hard work. I wanted to show through my performance. So I put pressure on myself to perform well and show my improvements every fight. And I think I've been doing a good job of it.
Poirier submitted the young Hawaiian in the first round with a mounted triangle armbar.
I won. I'm living a dream. This is my life, my passion. It's my career. It's amazing. I can't. Whatever I say, it doesn't do it justice.
This performance earned him the Submission of the Night bonus.
$65,000. I got bills and I could do a lot with that money.
Absolutely. Don't go to the tables.
Poirier faced his first big setback in the UFC against the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung in May 2012. The Korean zombie surprised everyone with a technical approach, picking his shots and defending against his opponent's takedowns. He even scored a few takedowns himself. In round 2, the Korean fighter ramped up the action with spinning back fists, flying knees, and a barrage of strikes, nearly finishing Dustin with triangle and armbar attempts.
Katie back to the triangle. They're transitioning so fast. He's going from armbar to...
Round 3 saw Dustin fired up, taking advantage of the zombie's fading cardio. By round 4, both fighters were exhausted, turning the fight into an all-out brawl. Ultimately, the Korean zombie went all in and choked Dustin, forcing him to submit.
I trained hard. I owed it to my wife and to myself. It's a big hit to me, man. Like, this is my life.
And you weren't gonna tap, man. You were just...
Their performance earned Fight of the Night honors and was named Fight of the Year by several publications.
I'm going to grow from this, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to win. No doubt about it. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to die in the cage. One of the two is going to happen. I'm a winner, and it just sucks to come in here and get. I tell you what, though, at least I lost the fight to a fighter who was better. I didn't get caught or I didn't get knocked out by a punch I didn't see. He beat me, and I can respect that. It's a fight game.
Thank you very much for a few minutes.
The Diamond quickly bounced back by submitting Jonathan Brookins in December 2012. He then faced Cub Swanson in the co-main event in February 2013.
I just got back to my house from the gym, actually. I was training every day. I was back in Florida. My weight was a little high, but, I was in good shape with no injuries, and I got the call from my manager, and then he asked me if I was able or where my weight was, and I told him, who's it against, and it was just such an exciting fight, and a fight that'll put me back at the top of the division that I couldn't let pass up.
All my coaches said the same thing to me. They're like, Cub, right now, where you're at in your career and how you're performing lately, we're ready for you to take on anybody, so it's no big deal.
Both fighters landed punches that hurt the other. Poirier scored with leg kicks and double leg takedowns, while Swanson retaliated with head kicks and submission attempts. Dustin ultimately lost the fight by unanimous decision. Not one to be deterred, Poirier went on to collect 3 consecutive wins against Eric Koch, Diego Brandao, and Akira Corassani.
There's a lot of guys, man. There's so many good guys. I feel like a rematch with Cub Swanson's appropriate, you know. Be a man and let's do it the proper way. Let me have a full camp and let's fight.
Despite wanting a rematch with Swanson, Dustin faced the infamous Conor McGregor in September 2014.
McGregor, Dustin, has been hyped as the next big thing in UFC, but you're younger than him and you've already had 10 fights inside the octagon. How big a factor will that big stage experience play in this fight?
I think it's going to be a big part of this fight. Like you said, I have 10 fights in the UFC, 2 in the WEC before we moved over to the UFC, and I've been in some big fights before. This is my 3rd time on pay-per-view, and I know how to prepare and get ready for these fights.
Both fighters are much more popular and experienced today, but at the time, this was seen as McGregor's toughest test in the UFC, where his bravado could potentially backfire.
To tell you the honest truth, I fought tougher guys, and if Conor could fight half as good as he can speak, I think it would be.
Say what you want about the guy, but in the end, just like he had predicted, McGregor needed just over 90 seconds to drop Dustin.
That's not going to be good. I'm going to crack him with a jab, and he's going to wobble, and I'm going to put him away early. It's going to be a first-round KO. Mark my words.
And, I have no emotion to them at the end of the day. I am on my journey. So he's a humble guy. He came to fight. And I have nothing but respect for these competitors. Make no mistake, I am cocky in prediction. I am confident in preparation. But I am always humble in victory or defeat. So I am humble here, and I am grateful for the opportunity that the UFC, Dana and Lorenzo, Uncle Frank IV have given me. I am grateful.
However, McGregor would not be humble nor gracious at all in his next encounters with Dustin, as we're about to see. In 2015, Dustin faced Carlos Diego Ferreira. After a little back and forth action and some heavy shots, Dustin unleashed a flurry of punches, forcing a stoppage at 3 minutes and 45 seconds of round 1.
Oh, he might be out. There it is. Dustin Poirier.
Mind you, this was Ferreira's first career stoppage. In June, Dustin defeated Yancy Medeiros with a relentless barrage of strikes, finishing the fight in just 2 minutes and 38 seconds of the first round. In 2016, he collected 2 more wins, beating Joseph Duffy by unanimous decision and knocking out Bobby Green.
But these guys need ass whoopings, and I'm the guy to give it to them. And
however, he then lost to Michael Johnson via first-round knockout. In February 2017, Dustin Poirier faced Jim Miller.
He's a guy who's been in some crazy fights, a lot of fight of the nights, always fun to watch, been around a long time and always been relevant, always been near the top of the pack. He's a guy I grew up watching. The guy's got 25 fights in the UFC. So I'm excited to fight guys like that, guys that go out there and put it all on the line.
Miller attacked Dustin's legs early and countered aggressively.
Gotta be careful here of Poirier, but he is very strong.
In the second round, despite Miller's takedown attempts, Dustin's relentless pace left him struggling. In the final round, Miller focused on Dustin's legs, nearly incapacitating him. The Diamond, however, swept him to the mat. Miller couldn't escape Dustin's ground and pound, ending the fight and breaking his 3-fight win streak.
Great fight. Great audible by Dustin Poirier to go to the rest of there. Yes. So
3 months later, Dustin faced Eddie Alvarez. Both fighters started cautiously. Poirier landed the first combo and big kicks, while Alvarez blocked and reset. In the second round, Alvarez pressed forward, with a combination and a double leg takedown attempt, but Dustin stuffed it. Alvarez pushed Dustin to the fence, but he shook him off, resumed striking, and wobbled Alvarez with a big shot.
You know, something about me a lot of people don't know is I have cardio for days, and especially when we start straining back and forth in those kind of scrambles, guys really start to fade. And I find, you know, pleasure in that. I enjoy that back and forth. Who wants it more? Eat an elbow, now you're on bottom, boom, back, you're back on top. Those deep dog fights, I love that.
Then controversy struck. Alvarez landed at least one illegal knee on a grounded Poirier, prompting referee Herb Dean to step in. Dustin's eye issues led officials to end the fight, ruling it a no contest due to unintentional illegal blows.
First of all, Eddie Alvarez's eye was closed. He could barely see. He was completely on Queer Street. He had been almost knocked unconscious, and he hit this dude in the clinch with a couple of knees, and the referee didn't stop him, and he thought they were legal. You know, he's in the chaos of a crazy cage fight.
It was an unfortunate end to a wild fight that was just heating up.
Crowd was booing Eddie Alvarez, and Dustin Poirier yelled at the crowd, "Don't boo this man."
Hey! Don't boo this man! This guy's a champion. This guy's fought all over the world. I got nothing but respect for this guy. Don't boo this man. This guy's a warrior. We both put it on the line every time we step in here. This is unfortunate. Eddie didn't mean to do that, but like you said, this is a fist fight. We're fighting.
There's something beautiful about that. And I think people like the animosity, but they also really like the fact when the animosity is squashed after the fight and people hug it out. They really do like that.
Dustin ended 2017 with a submission victory against Anthony Pettis. It was a strong performance from start to finish, though there was a moment of potential controversy. Late in the second round, referee Keith Peterson stopped the fight to have a cut on Pettis' face checked. At that moment, Pettis had Dustin in a potential triangle choke. However, after being cleared to continue, Pettis lost the position. In the third round, Dustin moved to full mount with a body triangle and Pettis tapped out. It was clear that Pettis suffered an injury during the sequence, later revealed to be a fractured rib.
I think it was a broken man more than a broken rib, but that's my thoughts, you know. I think, hopefully nothing is wrong with the guy. But I felt like the fight was slowly slipping away from him after the cut. And after the takedowns, he realized I was strong and I was going to stay on top. He couldn't submit me. All the triangles he threw up, I knew his legs were going to be tired when we got back up, because I used to be a bottom guy who used to chase triangles, chase arm bars over and over again. But that takes a lot out of your legs, especially when you're a mover like the way he fights, bouncing around, throwing kicks. I knew it was going to take a big impact on the way he fights. So like I said, I hope he's okay. But I think it was more of a broken man than a broken rib.
Fighter to the scale, born and raised right here in Arizona, Justin the Highlight Gaethje.
After the Pettis fight, Dustin faced Justin Gaethje in April 2018. Everyone expected a fight of the night from these two high-action fighters, and they delivered.
Follow my instructions. We're going to keep it clean.
Gaethje started with leg kicks, while Dustin focused on boxing combinations. Gaethje's leg kicks, however, disrupted his base.
Got hit with a couple leg kicks I didn't want to get hit with, more than a couple. But, you know, I'm growing and learning still, and I felt like I fought a good fight.
In the second round, Gaethje kept up his wild pace, even while taking brutal hits.
Oh, wow.
Dustin tried takedowns but couldn't succeed.
The air out of his lungs. That's the one way you got to fight Gaethje. And for the first time in the fight, Poirier thought they were briefly.
Yeah, I kind of, over this past week, fight week, every day when I laid down in bed, I kind of thought about the possibilities this fight could take, and I knew I was going to have to dig down deep. I knew trouble would present itself, but I just stayed tough and believed in myself, and we got it done.
By the third round, Gaethje's leg kicks took their toll, opening opportunities for head strikes. He stunned Dustin with an overhand right, but a second eye poke cost him a point.
He poked me 2 times. I know it was an accident. I told him after, when they restarted the fight, I said, I know you're not dirty. And then, but we're fighting these gloves. They're open, so sometimes you run into stuff like that. It just felt like my eyelid was kind of flipped. I can still see, it just felt like it was something was weird. But hey, we kept fighting.
In the fourth and final round, Dustin unleashed a flurry of punches, finally forcing the referee to stop the fight.
Dustin Poirier, goodness!
You know, I didn't get in the sport to win or lose. It's an entertainment factor for me, and I will be known as and remembered as one of the most entertaining fighters that ever did it. And, you know, I'm content with what just happened, as stupid and crazy as that sounds. You know, I felt so comfortable in there, so good. The best I've ever felt. Nothing but respect. I got nothing but respect for him. You know, he's going to be hurting for a very long time.
This brings us to Dustin's rematch against Eddie Alvarez in July 2018.
First fight I fought with Dustin, I was too much in my own head, very hesitant the first fight, too much thought going on and didn't do much. I gave Dustin a lot of space, and you guys are going to see.
The fight started slower than their first bout, but both fighters were eager to throw strikes. Alvarez was more efficient, focusing less on brawling.
I mean, he believes he's going to win, apparently. Maybe the things he's saying he really believes. Great. Let's find out who's better. I'm excited about that.
Round 2 featured more grappling, with Poirier attempting 2 guillotine chokes and Alvarez countering with a neck crank. However, Alvarez's illegal 12-6 elbow forced the referee to stand them up, giving Dustin an opening.
But then he throws a 12-6 elbow. I mean, I don't understand how Eddie keeps making these.
Poirier landed a big knee to Alvarez's body, followed by a smooth combination, and ultimately secured a second-round TKO win.
Swinging though, look at this. What a warrior, Eddie Alvarez. That's the Poirier finish.
That was it. Dustin Poirier closes the rivalry.
This win opened the door for Dustin to fight for the interim lightweight title against Max Holloway. Dustin kicked off 2019 with a bang, facing Max Holloway in a high-stakes rematch at UFC 236 in April. Their first fight in 2012 ended with Poirier winning, but this time, the interim UFC Lightweight Championship was on the line.
Max Holloway, fighting this Saturday night. I think when anyone talks about this fight, they just think the word volume, right? I imagine you guys are just going to be punching forward for 25 minutes. Is that how you see it going?
Yeah, it's going to be technical, but a lot of punches are going to be thrown. It's going to be a lot of volume and violence.
And now we're here with Dustin. I can't wait. You know, the cupcake, I told you guys all, the cupcakes, UFC, whatever UFC put in front of me, that's the cupcakes I'm going to eat, you know. And this cupcake was kind of sour 7 years ago. So Saturday night, hopefully it's much more sweeter.
From the start, Poirier dominated with powerful punches. Known for his toughness, Holloway tried to push forward, but Dustin's precise strikes kept him at bay. Poirier skillfully mixed precision with aggression, showcasing his experience. Holloway, famous for his superhuman pace, struggled against Poirier's power. Later on, Holloway landed big hits, but Dustin survived Holloway's onslaught and regained control in the later rounds. Ultimately, the judges scored the fight unanimously for Poirier.
Fantastic performance against one of the very best fighters in the world. Man, this feels amazing. I feel like I'm in a dream right now. I just beat one of the pound-for-pound best in the world. To be the best, you got to beat the best.
This win rightfully earned him the interim lightweight title and set up a future showdown with champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. The fight took place in September 2019. From the start, Khabib used his grappling skills to wear down Dustin, even threatening with a neck crank that Dustin escaped.
Position, no matter what, underneath both arms, and that's just not a fun position to be in if you're Poirier. Good job,
In the second round, Dustin landed some strong punches that briefly put Khabib on the defensive. However, Khabib quickly took control again with his wrestling dominating the round.
I don't know if he's the strongest guy I've ever fought, but he's strong. They're all strong. Nothing overwhelming or that really surprises me. It's just his understanding of balance and weight placement was incredible, dude.
In the third round, Dustin locked in a deep guillotine choke, exciting the crowd.
Guillotine's in, but it's not super tight.
But Khabib escaped and transitioned to a rear naked choke, making Dustin submit.
There's the top. Khabib Nurmagomedov, 28-0.
Never felt anything like it, you know, and I have 46 fights. I've fought all kind of different people, all kind of different styles. Been around the world training in gyms. This guy and his understanding of grappling is impressive. I mean, the best I've ever felt, the best I've ever seen. You know, the guy's 30-0. In MMA, that's a hard thing to do. There's so many variables. There's so many ways to lose, and to be 30-0 against the best guys in the world is, you know, very impressive. But his understanding of what I needed to do and what positions I needed to be in to advance, he was steps ahead of me.
Even though Dustin lost, his performance showed heart and skill, earning him even more respect from fans and fighters.
You know, hindsight's 2020. I just wonder if I could have maybe did more. You know, I had underhooks. Maybe I didn't try to get off the fin. I'm gonna beat myself up about this for the rest of my life. You know, I don't know.
Dustin returned to the octagon in June 2020 to face Dan Hooker. In one of the year's best fights, Dustin won by unanimous decision after a tough back-and-forth battle. This victory cemented his status as a top fucking contender in the lightweight division.
Hi, how are you? Oh, good.
You know, it's good to be here in Fight Island to see it in the flesh. I got a good look at the Etihad Arena as well, checking it all out, so very excited to be here, very ready. And yeah, let's get it going.
In January 2021, Dustin had a rematch with McGregor at UFC 257.
I think me and Conor both are completely different fighters, and this is a different fight this time.
Many expected McGregor to win easily, but Dustin had other plans. He used powerful calf kicks to slow McGregor down and took him down in the first round to disrupt his rhythm.
Trying to get close, and that is takedown.
Despite absorbing some heavy shots, Dustin stayed calm and avoided an all-out brawl, which is McGregor's specialty. By the second round, McGregor was slower, affected by fatigue and the relentless calf kicks. Dustin seized the opportunity, closed the distance, and landed his shots. His strategy paid off, and he achieved a stunning finish, marking a glorious milestone in his career.
Told you! That's the last time you're gonna doubt my husband, I swear to God.
Last question, win by KO or just to win? Saturday night.
KO, out on a stretcher, this man is going. Fist clenched, ready to break a face.
They faced off again in July of the same year at UFC 264.
Conor, in the build-up to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now on fight week, it's the exact opposite. So when did that switch happen?
Because he got knocked the fuck out. Not McGregor fast, McGregor sleep.
McGregor started the fight by using leg kicks, the very weapon that compromised him in their previous bout. Poirier was unfazed and fired back with his own leg kicks. The fighters exchanged blows until Poirier took the fight to the ground. McGregor attempted a guillotine, but it failed, allowing Dustin to unleash brutal elbows and punches. McGregor eventually got to his feet, but was met with another combination from Poirier. Then, as McGregor threw a right hand and stepped back, he grotesquely broke his leg. Dustin quickly followed him to the mat and delivered more strikes until the round ended.
Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby. Hit me back up on chat you later on. We'll be on the party, the win nightclub, baby. You're looking big, you little.
With these back-to-back wins, Poirier solidified his position as the #1 contender for the lightweight title. And so in December 2021, he challenged Charles Oliveira for the UFC Lightweight Championship at UFC 269. Dustin landed significant punches and even scored a knockdown, while Oliveira hit some solid knees to the body. The first round was mostly Dustin's, but Oliveira took control in the second round with a takedown, dominating from the top position. Poirier tried to weather the storm, but Oliveira's ground skills were too much. In the third round, Oliveira took Dustin's back and secured a rear naked choke, winning the fight and retaining his title.
Charles Oliveira, down him now, folks! Down him now!
It sucks, man, you know? Worked hard to get back here, to fight for another world title, and got choked out again. Yeah, I'm just heartbroken, really.
Charles, dude, that was so fucking sweet to watch. Although Dustin's gotta be one of your fucking top favorite fighters of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, he's gotta be.
for sure.
Not even, I mean, even outside what he done with his charities and stuff, just
Yeah.
a fucking solid dude. And to get choked again in his, he's never been the champ, the actual official champ. Got choked by Khabib, got choked by Charles. Everybody's like, fuck, dude.
In November 2022, Dustin fought Michael Chandler at UFC 281. This high-octane contest saw Dustin bounce back from his previous loss by securing a third-round submission victory, showcasing his skill and resilience once again. In 2023, Dustin continued to compete against top-tier competition. He fought Justin Gaethje in a rematch in July, this time for the BMF belt. Gaethje won the bout in the second round with a head kick, avenging his previous loss to Dustin. And then Dustin bounced back with a win against Benoit Saint-Denis in March 2024.
Like, that Saint-Denis guy is a fucking killer.
Savage,
He's
bro. That's
such
the
a
fight.
killer. That
Everyone's
guy's such
focused
a
on other
scary
fights,
guy.
but that Benoit Saint-Denis is a fucking monster.
He was one of the French.
In the UFC?
He was the French version of Navy SEALs, whatever they are in France. The French version of special forces guy.
3 months later, Poirier faced lightweight champion Islam Makhachev in the UFC 302 main event. Makhachev quickly proved why he was the heavy favorite. Poirier landed a clean punch that cut Makhachev's eye, but Makhachev countered with a punch and a swift takedown. He dominated the first round, constantly threatening Poirier with submissions.
What an amazing fighter, what an amazing man. Khabib was always this smothering grappler and this ruthless ground and pound and submission artist, but Islam knocks guys outstanding too.
The second round was far more competitive. Dustin kept his distance from the cage, brought the fight to the center, and stayed on his feet.
Like, I was so impressed with Dustin's performance.
Oh, Dustin is a dog, you know. He will bite, he will kick, he will punch.
In the third round, Makhachev took the diamond to the ground and nearly secured an armbar, but Dustin escaped and got back on his feet. The round ended with multiple exchanges, setting the stage for an action-packed fourth round.
It really was something special. And there was nothing about that performance that you look at and say, he's done.
Poirier's run, however, was destined to end in disappointment. He pushed Makhachev to the fifth and final round, mounting a strong last-ditch effort for a finish. But the champion had one more trick up his sleeve, choking Dustin to ultimately retain his title.
Honestly, I think he did a great job. He improved his wrestling skills, he defended very well. I tried to take him down, he defends many times, and he have good boxing.
With this win, Makhachev has now defended his belt 3 times.
Honestly, man,
every day I wake up, it's a little better. So still getting better. I'm honestly not in that much pain like I was, you know, maybe a week ago. But every now and then my knee, my rib, depending when I move or if I crunch, and my nose kind of stopped hurting, and it just feels like pressure now. The pain went away.
Poirier has hinted at retirement, though he still hasn't made a final decision at the time of this video.
It was a title fight, a world title fight with the best guy in the world. It was everything I thought it was going to be. I feel like I could have did more. I said that in the Khabib fight as well. I could have picked up the volume, took more chances on the feet. He was just similar to Khabib, moving weird. His cadence was weird. His head movement was weird. When he would commit to the pocket, he would exit weird. My shots just weren't there to land. And yeah, the knee, I don't know if it was the third or fourth round, he pulled me off of the fence before I switched him, and I felt my knee and my shin slide over each other, and then it started feeling like burning, so I need to get that checked out. It didn't bother me getting off the stool or anything like that for the next rounds. I could feel it, but it wasn't anything too serious. That's fighting. I mean, you're going to get busted up.
Despite not capturing the belt, Poirier's influence goes far beyond his impressive record and thrilling fights.
What's up, everyone? Once again, after this Saturday's fight, I'm going to be auctioning off everything I wear to the octagon for the goal with the Good Fight Foundation. If you'd like
Outside the octagon, he makes a significant impact through the Good Fight Foundation, which he co-founded with his wife. The Good Fight Foundation supports various charitable initiatives, including funding playgrounds, building water wells in Uganda, and supporting schools in Louisiana. And his willingness to face the best on the biggest stages has earned him immense respect from fans and fighters alike. His bouts with top fighters like Holloway, Khabib, the infamous McGregor, and Justin Gaethje will forever be celebrated for their intensity. Dustin's legacy in MMA is defined not only by his portfolio of thrilling fights in the cage, but also by his significant contributions outside of it, making a lasting impact on society and future generations.
I appreciate everybody who's followed along my career and supported me, man. But fighting is life. And I think if you're true to it, people recognize that. And, you know, you just get like I said, they come along this journey with me.
Not sure Madera's gonna be able to recover from this one.
Through the last however many years, my life has been documented through fighting and on television and in these pay-per-views. So thank you all.